Welcome to Convo with CJ. Today is the day. I talked about this day for a while, and I'm very excited for you to hear this conversation. Today, I have with me Jackie Koski. Now, Jackie, after overcoming poverty, divorce, and single motherhood, Jackie still reached financial independence and retired early in her 40s, making less than six figures. And let me tell you, I remember the day she told me she was retiring. I saw her in the parking lot. We were both leaving the office. I said, "Hey, Jackie, how you doing?" She said, "I'm doing great." She said, "I had a goal to retire before I was 50 years old." I said, "That's what's up." She said, "My last day is next week." I said, "What? You kidding me?" She said, "Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm done." And she said, "I got more money than what I need to have, and I'm excited about my future." And I said, "Wow." So she officially retired from corporate America in 2019 at the age of 49 with a net worth over $1 million. And she is like me that says everyone deserves to become a millionaire. She has been featured on the Emmy award winning Rachel Ray show. Yes, she's been on Rachel Ray. She's been on CNBC Squawk Box. She's been on Market Watch Fire Starters. Her personal finance tips have also appeared in Forbes, Business Insider, People in Real Simple magazine. And I'm reading this because I can go on and on and on with the accolades and the list within the credits that shows that this woman knows what she's talking about. She also is the author of two books. The first book, I bought several copies of each one, and I pre-ordered the second one. So the first book, Money Letters to My Daughter, she wrote that book. And the second one that's about to come out, that's called Fire, which is Financial Independence and Retired Early for Dummies. I bring to you today my dear friend and the person that I listen to when it's about anything money related, Jackie Koski. How you doing, Jackie?
Woohoo! Oh man, you are hyping me up today. I'm blushing over here. I'm blushing. I'm blushing. I'm happy to be on the show, CJ. It's like a reunion. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I miss you, but at the same time, I love seeing everything that's coming out about the work that you're doing and how you're sharing your education about money.
Yeah, brother. I'm here and I am loving everything that you're doing. So this is gonna be a good conversation today.
It definitely is. Let's get started. So let me ask you this. You know, tell us about your background, because some people may hear the introduction I gave and they will say, "Oh, she's a millionaire. She must have been born with money, or she was taught money, or she inherited money, or she, somehow, got money from a startup, or she was able to acquire her wealth. Maybe it was a car accident or a slip and fall or something like that." Tell us about your background. Where are you from? How did you grow up? And how did you start learning about money?
Well, CJ, I wish I had some of those things, but that was not the case. I was actually very embarrassed about how I grew up for a long time, and I didn't even really want to talk about it. But I'm on this mission to banish the taboo of talking about money and just owning how I grew up and the obstacles that I had to overcome. So I grew up in rural South Carolina, so I'm a Southern girl, and it was down this long dirt road. I hated that dirt road, but I was raised by a single dad with six kids. It was six of us. I was five out of six.
Mm-hmm.
And all I really felt growing up was we were poor. I couldn't get the things I wanted. Money was always an obstacle. But my dad, he was a hard working man. And thank goodness I inherited his work ethic. He didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of money, but his work ethic was tremendous. I never even knew what a sick day was until I started working alongside some of my coworkers, like in my 20s or my 30s. I just never saw him taking time off from work. So thinking back to how hard it must have been for a single dad to raise six kids, it's just an amazing thing. So he passed away right before I graduated from high school. But I could tell you, even as a young person, under the age of 18, all these lessons, they stuck with me. And they were basic money things. He always told us, always say something. Don't spend everything you have. All those things resonated with me. So you don't even have to be rich to teach your kids good money habits. And
Mm,
those were certain things that stuck with me. So the closest thing I thought to getting to wealth or to not be poor anymore, that's what resonated in my head. I didn't want to be in poverty anymore. I went to college and figured, okay, I should be able to get a better job. If I go to college, my dad always supported it. So I did that. It worked out pretty good. I got a job with corporate America, changed jobs a few times. And then finally, my last career was where we worked together at
mhm,
LexisNexis. I was there for 20 years. I don't know how long you was there, but probably near as long. But
mhm,
as I'm doing all this, one big thing that happened that changed my world was that I'd gotten married and had a daughter. You met my daughter. Her name is Amber.
mhm,
And I was married for about 12 years and ended up getting a divorce. And one of the big things that stuck with me, I mean, this wake up moment was when during the divorce, we looked at both of the retirement accounts. I had $20,000 in my retirement account and I was in my 30s. So I thought that was pretty good. Right. But in
mhm,
his 401k, he had $120,000. And
mm,
I was just blown away. I felt so financially ignorant. We never looked at accounts together. I had no idea what was even in my 401k. It didn't even feel like my money because I couldn't use it until I was a certain age. So it was just
mhm,
out of my mind.
mhm,
So that was the moment. That was my wake up call where I said, you know what? I never want to feel this financially ignorant again. And a lot of times it's those big mistakes or those big lessons that we learn that
mhm,
wakes us up and says, okay, I got to do something different. And that's what it was for me. So that started my journey on learning about money, and as I was going along, yeah, there was a lot of new. It was scary. I was worried a lot, wanting to make
mhm,
sure I was okay, my daughter was okay. I had that resounding message in my head that I did not want to be poor again, but
mhm,
it started to get better as I acted on my curiosity. I was very curious about investing. I was
mhm,
curious about how do I get my finances right when I see all these other people, doing so well.
mhm,
And from then on, it just went up and up and up. As I learned more, I wanted more. And that's
mhm,
how you grow. That's how you compound your own talents, your own knowledge, your own
mhm,
education. And
mhm.
that's what brought me here today, really.
Wow. You know, that's really really rich, and you're taking me down memory lane because we you and I've talked several times. You always give me good tidbits on money and understanding things, and I appreciate that. I want to ask you, what was it about stocks and investment that you said that's where I want to spend more time to learn? I mean, was it the 401k situation, or was it that you knew that 401ks are made up of different bundles of stocks and companies and things of that nature? And you said, well, maybe I'll step into this arena to learn a little bit more.
Yeah. So most people that start to learn about the finances, they don't really start with the stock market. But I did. So I kind of did it backwards. Most people start with, budgeting and things like that. And growing up in poverty, one thing you learn how to do is budget. So I kind of
Hmm.
had that under control. But I think, back it was around 1999 where any single stock you invested in that had .com at the end of the name of the company did well. And then there was the tech bubble, you know.
Hmm.
And so I lost money. But the good thing, so that sort of gave me my first interest in owning a company, kind of seeing how it worked, except I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
luckily I didn't hardly have any money. I think I might have had like $1,000 that I invested in, got an E-Trade account. And me and my husband at the time was, just trying to figure it out. The only good thing was that I didn't have a lot of money to invest, but I learned a lesson. The stock that I bought, I think I remember still, was salon.com. It's probably not even around anymore. Went to almost nothing. So that $1,000 went to about
Uh-huh.
$80. I'm like, okay, we can go buy dinner or something. But I learned a great lesson about one, I still like the idea of investing in stocks. I just didn't know what I was doing. And then
Mhm.
two, it gave me the reality that you don't always win. So that helped me
Mhm.
with my risk tolerance. It helped
Mhm.
me be more balanced in my approach. And, shortly after that, after I got divorced, my first thing was, I'm really interested in learning more about the stock market and how that works. And I found an investment club. It was supported by a nonprofit organization called Better Investing. I'm around all these other people that are smarter than me,
Mhm.
that was happy to take me under their wing. And that was help. We had these discussions about the common interests that we shared, and that was investing in the stock market. And only after I learned all of that did I go back and say, wait a minute, I should be maxing out my 401k because that's going to grow
Mhm.
too, as long as I'm
Mhm.
invested in stocks. And except it wasn't single stocks, it was index funds, which, turned out that you don't have to do all or one, right? So I was doing my individual stock portfolio, my own little thing, and I was invested in just straight up index funds through
Mhm.
my 401k. And then I started looking at any other tax advantage accounts because the tax piece, that's yet another bonus in my head. So
Mhm.
401k, my Roth IRA, my health savings account. I learned early on you can invest in that. And by the time I started sort of putting the picture together, it was really starting to add up.
Wow. You talked about better investing, and remember, better investing. They were meeting at one point at a library, public library,
Yep.
where you can go in, introduce yourself. They would teach you some of the fundamentals. How did How did that feel? I mean, for you, the investment in yourself was you were giving up, a couple hours of your Saturday because you would have to drive there. It's 30, 40 minutes for you. She lived 30, 40 minutes away from the library. Then you're sitting in a meeting for 2 hours on a Saturday, and tell me about those early days. How did you overcome those? I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, when do I jump in? When do I put money into the pot? How do I know that this is the right decision to make? I'm not making that much money at the time. I got my daughter as well as right. Talk to me about those early days. How did you keep the faith to go forward, building up the courage to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah. CJ, I think the biggest part of that was to follow your curiosities and your interests. Yes, I was giving up one Saturday a month for about 2 hours, maybe even a little bit more, as we had to, do analysis on the stock that we followed and things like that. But I stuck with it because I was so interested in it. So your
Mm-hmm.
thing might be real estate or
Mm-hmm.
technology or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me was more of an investment in something I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I guess, sort of it initially, I guess I thought it was more of a hobby, but I liked it. And I
Mm-hmm.
never had any issue with driving 30 minutes. I never
Mm-hmm.
had an issue with spending time with these people that turned out to be some of the smartest people I know. And they were
Mm-hmm.
very friendly and embracing me. And I guess I love the idea. There's so many crazy investment things out there, but I love the idea that this is a nonprofit organization. This particular investment club was called a model club, meaning that it was open to the public. So I went several times just to observe and see what was going on. And that's when it reminded me I learned so much more when I listen more than I talk. So as
Mm-hmm.
an observer, I was able to capture so many things that just sort of fed my desire to learn even more and to be a part of the club. I've since, been very involved in the organization. I was in that club for probably over 11, 12 years. And all the other personal finance things that I did, particularly around investing, probably started when the seed was planted in learning about investments in that club because we talked about so much more, and it was about education and how I could apply what I was learning to other parts of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it became easy after a while, and these became some of my dear friends that I still talk to. And one thing did stick with me.